computer. And we are recording. Okay. We've been talking like for the last 45 minutes, just chumming it up. But moving forward, I'm Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting and world. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition to tell our story, and the awesome folks that are joining me today help write it one game at a time. I am joined today by these two wonderful people. We have Heather and Kara be playing the roles of Sylowen and Tamyra. If you don't know that already, you should watch more shit. You would know. And then below us all is Jeremy Keaton. And he'll be playing Merc, which will be piloting Brahmus. That's the best way to put it. So, Alex may join in a little bit. Her work is running her a little bit late, and no one wants to run home and jump into D&D when they have an 8. So she'll be in after a while. Sean is celebrating. Is it his husband's birthday or is it their anniversary?
I believe it said birthday.
I think so. So happy birthday to him. I don't even know what the hell his name is. I have no idea. But hey, have a good one, buddy. And we're going to kind of, how do I describe this? There's this great thing in D&D we can do. It's called editing. And what happens is when we all have jobs and we work and we have schedules, sometimes we have to alter shit a little bit. Marvel does it with the alternate universes thing. We have to imagine that this timeline has split off and this other one is just a possibility that is gone forever. So having said that, we had to do a little bit of an edit last time to get Hunter, which is going to Austin, Texas today, and won't be able to join us. He'll be in next time. But his character, Calibhan, as he told me the other day, I have to pronounce the Calibhan. I have to say it properly. He gave me shit about that too.
Same the guy from Indiana Jones.
It's Calibhan. Nicodunde. Yeah, so anyway, lost track. I saw a squirrel. We were trying to get him into the Heart of the Beast to join the group. He follows Sylowen from the Drunken Mug there by following her loud voice, her asking about Dahon left and right voice as she walked up and down the streets. As he comes into the place, Sha-dae doesn't like the fact that this person that Tamyra beat in arm wrestling, that Brahmus barely escaped and won in a fist-to-fist match against this Earth Genasi monk. He didn't like the idea that this is a person that she doesn't know and was automatically asking about Sylowen. Sha-dae, it turns out, is very defensive over Sylowen, knowing that she is not accustomed to the way people are here. She is from a place more of a utopian society, as we all know, and this certainly is not that. So Sha-dae has thrown out a challenge to this new monk character. Says, if you can best me in combat, we'll let you join our little adventure. And asked it in only the way that Sha-dae could. So it's like, tell you what, dearie, had the whole flair to it. So we are stuck in that moment right then. Brahmus is shaking his head like, Sha-dae, you might want to reconsider that as a point. And I'll tell you, I didn't even see Sean flinch when you said that shit either. He was just dead set, So we are at the Heart of the Beast. The people that are present, just so I can make some notes and keep track of who's who and where's where. Oma had given the contract to Gwyneth, which is the owner of the Heart of the Beast, the female centaur woman, the warrior, on behalf of the Lai Lung, the airship that she works on, and works for Aeolus on this airship. Aeolus wrote up what seemed to be a very good deal for them. Gwyneth's only request was that if this mission is as profitable as she thinks it will be, she wants to be able to commission and make a contract with the Lai Lung to have first dibs if more jobs pop up after this. Which I don't know how Aeolus will react to that. That's going to be a tough sell because he's kind of a vagabond, doesn't like being tied down by shit. So now it's Oma's responsibility of sorts to go to Aeolus, give this information, and nudge him however she wants to. She didn't really tell us if she thought this was a good idea or not. She kind of kept it to herself. So whatever Alex chooses to do will be whatever happens. And then we have this confrontation. And Sha-dae didn't exactly throw down the gauntlet and say right now, but it could be interpreted that way. Simply because Valdera spoke up as soon as this confrontation happened at the disarray of Tamyra. Valdera just remembered, Jeremy, she just starts shutting the books and pushing all the notes aside because she's really trying hard to research about this job coming up. She's trying to be, now her head's a little bit more clear thanks to the item that Tamyra got her. She's really trying to get into this and become not just the muscle behind this group, but try to help out with a little bit of the logistics of the deal. Okay? She gets this big old shit-eating grin on her face. She shuts her books as she was kind of telling us all about the hunt, pushes the shit to the side and says, fuck this. I want to see a fight. Let's do this. Right? So that's where we'll pick up, is right there. Sylowen, your character was in the midst of trying to talk to Tamyra about possibly going around the city and doing some shopping and getting some other things that you think would be nice in your brand new place.
Okay.
That's your
and also
go-to.
like subtly asking about Dahan and like where he might be.
Absolutely. And Alex is wanting to be admitted right now. But she knows how to cut out all the bullshit, doesn't she? She knows when to come in on this.
It's okay. Sylowen's like a teenager. She's in her first love. Oh, speak of the devil shall arrive.
So I'm saying, right. So, hey Alex, how are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
We just did introductions and we're getting ready to get into what Sylowen and Tamyra are doing. I just explained that you are on your way back to the airship to talk to Aeolus and explain to him that Gwyneth has accepted the contract because of your smooth talking. Okay, you can take all the credit you want. He doesn't know any better. And her only wish is that she can contract him to be there when she needs him in the future if this goes as well as she thinks. I don't know how much of that you remember. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get to you in a minute. So if you need to get a bite, settle in, chill out for a little bit, now you just got off work, take your time, it's all good. And I'm going to start with these two over here. And I'll get you here in just a few. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So you hear, as you're asking about Dahan, correct? Is that what your conversation was about?
I'm like doing that like high school teenager girl thing where they're like, so like I like, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to be a high school teenager again.
Oh man, just run with it. You're doing great.
I'm gonna be like, we should go shopping, especially at that store. You know, I think Dahan would really like that store. I didn't mean to like bring him up for like any reason, no reason at all, but like.
Okay. Tamyra, overall, what would you think her reaction to be to this? You two are in the back room, and the reason you were in the back room, you're gathering some more supplies. You personally still don't even know the creature that you're getting ready to go after. No one has asked Gwyneth, and she strangely, now that you think about it, hasn't really come out and said anything about it yet.
Brahmus was going to ask her, but then the whole Sha-dae and
well,
Calibhan.
anything you want to, but I'm just pointing out to Tamyra, it just now kind of dawns on you as you're kind of listening to this, but you're kind of thinking of that at the same time. You know what I'm talking about. So, what is your response to Sylowen?
I'm gonna say Tamyra's more like oblivious to this like Dahan thing. In her head, she's just calculating, and she's like, "We probably should go shopping." Does Sylowen know what the like? Does she know what we need to be shopping for? Maybe she has more insight. And like, so Tamyra's just in her head, like logistically calculating things, and
for the hell of it, roll a perception check. I would like to see how interested you pretend to be in what she's saying.
What's perception? Perception is wisdom. Ooh, nat 20.
Wouldn't it be actually performance?
Oh, I meant performance. I'm sorry, but still, it's a freaking nat 20. Okay, and now
I'm proficient in both.
that's fantastic. So for a total of
For a total of 27.
That's what I thought. It's 4 plus your modifier because you're
Oh,
proficient.
28. So 28.
Nice.
Sylowen thinks you're enamored with what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. If you want to roll an insight check to see if you can tell she's full of shit, I don't think you're going to be in that 20, but I'm curious to see you try it.
19.
The little, of course, the little things that she throws at you, you are one with this woman right now. You understand?
Okay, can we just say that I like have like a small tiny suspicion that she's not listening, but I don't give a fuck because I just want to talk about Dayon. So it's like
I normally would, but not with a 20.
all right, fine.
I got to be honest. You think she is just she is
We're
remembering
BFFs,
everything
just bitching about boys.
all day. Okay. So of that, you're thinking all these things on the side, and you're performing very well. Some will say you're being somewhat astute, picking up that she is talking about Dayon, thinking about things to get for the place. Should I make it rustic like the ship? Should I make it like this? How many windows? What about curtains? Should I like the sun? Is the sun bad for me? I don't understand. And she's going through.
Like she would totally be minimalist.
Well,
Okay.
no, I think the opposite. I think because everything's so new,
I
you
would go full Barbie girl.
you would like full on deck out your room with
And
every accessory possible.
You also
Like,
need
right.
to
It'd be
get
another Ariel.
Yeah, and she also needs to get a quality harp because the one she played at the bar was shit, if you recall. Although you did well on it, you might want to invest in maybe looking for something like that too. So
Maybe get a new heart, maybe a plant for the place, some pink bed covers. Like we need the whole thing.
pink bed covers, fantastic. So that's going on in the back of your all's head. Okay. In the middle of that, Tamyra, you hear Sha-dae pipe up. Now Sylowen seems to be going on about this still, but you hear and you see Sha-dae take a strange posture towards this person that has walked into the heart of the beast, and you recognize it as the Earth Genasi. That was humbled, not a bad guy, but seemed to have a mystery to him to a degree, kind of a somber fella that you bested, although you saw him to be very strong. You were able to best him. And Sha-dae seems to be standing toe-to-toe with him, and I want you to roll a perception check.
Can I also?
Yes, but yours is with disadvantage because you are on fire right now. Not literally.
23.
Okay, well, I got
23.
a 20 plus or 17. So 17 plus perception is 23.
Okay, both of you
I will serve 17.
notice this in the background as it starts to dwarf out your own personal thoughts, and this becomes a point of concern or another focal point, and you hear what Sha-dae said the last episode, which is, tell you what, why don't you and I have a fight? And we'll see if you're worthy of joining our group, just for fun. And you see that Sha-dae is sarcastically saying this to the big Earth Genasi brute that's standing in the doorway. At that point, the Earth Genasi takes the spear and the staff off of his back, holds his arms out to the sides, and drops them. Both of them go clanking to the floor as he stands back and draws his fists. Valderas stands up to Mare and says what I said earlier. Fuck this. I want to see what happens here. Let's go. What are you all doing? Brahmus, what are you doing? What are you two doing? I'll let you two go first. Yes.
Sylowen bolts for it, and she gets in between them, and is just like making up excuses, like, "You guys are not outfitted to fight. Like, we need to like do this outside, and we're this like a nice open space where nobody can get hurt. This is not the kind of atmosphere where we fight, guys. You should know this by now. We're professionals."
Okay. As she's doing it and seems to have the room handled, what is Tamyra doing?
So I guess Tamyra obviously hears Sha-dae being, sarcastic Sha-dae. and then sees Sylowen jump in. So Tamyra walks over there very calmly, tries to lighten the mood, and says, "Oh, Calibhan, I see you're here to lose to another arm match." Just tries to like lighten the mood, bring the heat
I don't
down.
feel like that would bring anybody down. Who did this to you?
Okay, Brahmus, what are you doing?
Brahmus has already tried to warn Sha-dae that
Which you
this
did.
may not be a good idea.
Okay.
The Walking Stone Fortress, of all people, says, he whooped my ass. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
But given that, they're still dead set on it. Brahmus is just going to approach the next part of the mission, and he's going to go try to talk to Guinevere about what they're about to go up against
Okay.
to try to figure that out.
Yeah, Heather,
Can I
now we'll
roll a
get to Alex.
persuasion check on whether or not I've talked them into it?
I'm going to
or
get
out
to
of it?
that. I'm going to
Okay.
get to that in just a minute because there's something happening here. Okay, Alex, you get no further than maybe 10 or 15 foot down the steps away from this place, and all of a sudden you hear Sylowen loudly trying to talk down a scrap that's getting ready to happen inside the place. What is it you would choose to do at this moment? Do you continue on your merry way? Does this draw your attention? Just be open. What are you thinking she would do here?
I'd probably be on my way.
Okay, so
I don't want to get into anything tonight.
yeah, maybe just singing as you start humming a little bit to get your mind off all the things that are happening as you're just kind of walking around, pulling your cloak against you a little bit and trying to make it fit a little better. And you're on your way. Good enough. Okay, so now you can roll a persuasion check, Heather, with advantage because Tamyra is trying to help you. In D&D 5th edition rules, when you're trying to do a ability check like that, you have someone else helping you, you gain advantage. Okay? So go ahead and do that for me, Heather, and let me know what you get.
Perception or performance?
No,
Or
this
persuasion.
is
Sorry, persuasion or performance?
persuasion.
Okay, well, I got a 19 and a 7, so 19, 25.
25 is pretty good. Okay. I'm going to roll German. I'm going to have you roll a 1d20 plus a 1d6. Tell me what you get.
$13.
Okay. You have convinced Calibhan. He seems to have rested his stance just a little bit listening to your words. And kind of
Okay, I
gives
pick
you
his
a
spears
knowing
up and I
look.
put him back on his back for him. Like,
He stands there kind of, um,
I'm so uncomfortable with men.
he's just kind of not knowing what to say. Alex, I want you to roll 1d20 and a 1d6 and tell me what Sha-dae gets.
Okay. A 9.
Okay.
I have 1.
Against Sha-dae's best interest, you're able to do this. Sha-dae looks the situation over, looks at Valdera, and Valdera, at the disapproval of Tamyra, has kind of got that eyebrow arched up, just kind of wanting to see what's going on. Like a
Tamara's
tennis
like,
match, trying to back her off, like a dog trying to get a pork chop. Valdera wants to see some shit. With that, Sha-dae says, okay, tell you what. I'll give you some time to prepare, because I would hate to stain this fine establishment with your blood, whatever color that might end up being, without you having a chance to actually rest and from the smell of things, maybe even sober up a bit. Which is a very Sha-dae thing to say. Right on. With that, he takes the hint and kind of nods and says, what would Hunter say? Because I kind of get the idea of what he would say here. Let's say with him, you beat him pretty bad, persuading him, Sylowen. Fair enough.
But like, I feel like we're friends now, so I just like pat him on the shoulder. I'm like, we can totally figure this out later. It's fine.
Figure it out later. All right. I suppose.
Alex. Oh, I'm so sorry. Alex, what animal is that? Is that a cat?
It's a cat.
Okay, I've never seen your cat before.
I like the fact that we didn't even know if it was a cat or not. It could have been just like a wild.
It could have been a skunk, and I would have been super excited. Are you fucking kidding?
Skunks are tough to keep as house pets. I saw a documentary on it. It's not a walk in the park.
Okay, I did not mean to cut you off, DM. Continue.
The DM, being Brian, is okay with it. It's okay. This is part of it. It's all good. I enjoy the conversation. So, with that, good job. You have chilled this off for the time being. To finish, Calibhan would say, when you have a place in mind that you want to finish this, whatever it is that you've started, you just let me know. And he's staring down Sha-dae. Sha-dae says, no worry, dear. I already have the perfect spot in mind. It's not that far from the graveyard. And smiles.
Almost like Sean's here.
I'm trying my best. So anyway, with that, that de-escalates. And now let's focus on people that are here. How about that? How about we give you all a little bit of attention? So, what would everybody like to do?
Okay, I buy Calibhan and Sha-dae both a beer, but like a low percentage one so that they don't get drunk and actually trying to kill each other.
It's hard to buy a beer at the Heart of the Beast.
They don't have beer at this place?
Inns
have beer.
So let's just say, for instance, you're just trying to get a beer from your lack of experience at this place.
Absolutely.
Where are you going to get it? Are you asking Gwyneth, the centaur woman? Are you looking around behind the counter? What are you doing?
Wait, so inns in this particular medieval fantasy do not have bars?
So think of an inn as just like the hotel. The hotel usually doesn't have a bar.
Not back in the day.
I love how we're debating this. Listen, here's what this place really truly is. It's the Heart of the Beast Salvage and Supply. It's a place where they pick up bounties, they go on hunts, and they have accommodations for the people that live here.
So you're telling me bounty hunters come here in packs to pick up bounties and there's no beer?
Only what they would personally want here. So let's just say roll an investigation check.
All right. That's not bad at all.
What's the name of the pub here in town?
The Heart of the Beast. Well, there's a lot of them.
The Drunken Mug.
The Drunken Mug.
Yeah.
That's where I live, right?
And then
That tells me that the Drunken Mug's got like some secret monopoly on the bar business.
Yeah. Well, there's the Crow's Nest.
That later.
There's a Crow's Nest up in Skywatch too, but down here it's that. So you rolled a what on your investigation?
21.
You can see that there seem to be some bottles of something over on the wall, but they look like they're antique. They look like they were there put up as like some of that flair, that TGI Friday kind of momentum kind of shit on the wall. Other than that, there is some mead that is in a jug that is over by Valdera, and hers is pretty much empty. She's had very little of it. Other than that, there seems to be no evident place that you could see here that has beer or anything of that nature. And
all right, Sylowen takes a vote. We're gonna see if we just all want to go to the Drunken Mug, and
Tamyra's gonna interrupt that thought. And seeing the Sylowen panic, still seeing that there's tension in the room, knowing that we have a goal that we need to get to and talk about, Tamyra says, "Everyone, I will be right back. I'm gonna run to my room, get us all a little something to take the edge off, and then we're gonna focus." So Tamyra goes up to her room, gets something from her personal stash to share with the group.
Sylowen says, "Oh, thank God," and like collapses into a chair.
With that, with a childish like sigh, Valdera's like, whatever. And she walks back over to the table and she sits down begrudgingly and flips open her book sarcastically and goes, back at it. And starts reading.
Tamyra glares at Valdera.
I'm sure as she would.
Sylowen just is like, wow, I'm not the only child here.
You say, how loud do you say that shit?
No.
Okay.
We'll get murdered by Valdera.
Valdera is like, I mean, she's cool with people, but she has an edge. So having seen all of this, Brahmus, what are you doing?
All this talk about wanting to go to a bar and get a drink and everything else. Merc is standing there on his platform with a giant tankard.
Right. Right.
It's like, oh well.
Okay.
But he's gonna go talk to Gwyneth.
Okay.
So you leaving? Or
No,
is she, she's here.
Gwyneth is just like a room away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll say, ironically, just like a TV sitcom, Gwyneth comes in the back from the room beyond where she is going through what seems to be a large room of large tusks, pelts, scales, supplies that have been preserved and what's the word I want to say? Taken from their bounties and kept for sale later or kept contractually to give to somebody to claim later. She comes out of that room with another one of these large talons. And this thing would almost look like a claw. Okay? And I'm going to say easily, that this claw seems to be at least 16 inches long. Okay? Not only that, but it seems to have some kind of tribal painting inscribed on it. And there are also some holes not drilled, because there's no drills, but there's holes that ancient aliens found their way into the stonework. And it seems to be some kind of monster call of some kind, almost like a bullhorn or something. Very similar to what Oma tried to pick up and lift last week, but it was too heavy for her. This thing, as she's bringing it out of the back, you meet eyes with her and go ahead and have your conversation, Brahmus. What are you saying?
Well, remind me real quick. After the fight with the ice worm,
Yes.
Valdera gave Brahmus something. And I remember it was something to the effect of I could take it to the heart of the beast or I could sell it. It was something that she found valuable she wanted to share with me. I don't recall what that was. Do you?
Not really. I think it was some of the remains in some of the scales from the frostworm.
Okay.
If anything. And you were carrying it because you were pretty much the pack horse of the group, correct?
Right.
Now, I remember her searching around and rolling successfully and finding some of the frostworm hide that had been unhindered from the battle. And that stuff has a high ice resistance to it. And I would say, if you just want to go ahead and say that in your time, you have since given this to Gwyneth, and it is in that back room of storage.
Right.
But you would also, having said that, you would have the advantage of being able to repurchase that. Roll me a 1d4. And the cat is back.
It's funny. D4s are the one thing I have so few of.
We'll roll a d8 and half it.
3.
A 3. You get 30% off. Remember, write this down as a note. If you ever wish to buy any of those materials from the Frostworm battle from this place. Okay? This is a side note. And go ahead and continue with what it is you would be saying to her as she walks out with this, what looks like a call for some large monster made out of a talon that looks like it's off the foot of something that would fuck up shit. To be immature, at the very least about it.
So he would kind of look at that, and she would be able to tell in a way that only Brahmus can really portray his emotions as the equivalent of going kind of wide-eyed.
Okay, yeah.
And he would ask, what was that original from?
She says, she looks to it a minute with concern. As she looks at Ulver, realizes how big this thing is as well. And she goes, this was actually part of the package that was delivered to us for the trip that we're getting ready to take, Brahmus. It's from the very southern islands of Tadala, which is past Thornwood, far to the south from here. Several days' journey, even on an airship. I would only have to imagine that this is from one of the native creatures from that area. Does that bother you? And she gives you a firm look.
Thing that we're going to go fight.
She goes, so we're finally getting to that.
You know me, if I'm not helping, I'm spearheading the effort.
And I appreciate that. I'd rather... I can't say we won't be facing this, but there may be a way around it. Just 1 minute, my daughter's knocking on the door. Yes, kiddo, what's up? I'm going to mute this for just a second, guys. Hold on. Okay. So, she says, I believe, with the help of Winona, I've devised a plan, but I need some information to make sure it will work. Maybe you could help with that.
What do you need?
Well, she looks around and she sees Sylowen and Tamyra getting ready to do some things. Tamyra's getting ready to go up to her room. And as she sees her go up the top of the steps and go back to the room, she goes, I'll wait for her to come back from whatever she's gathering and I'll address the group of you together. Only Valdera knows what it is we're facing so far, so. And whatever information you all could have to maybe doing this as simply as possible, if that's even a solution for us, would be appreciated. Was there anything else you needed?
Without diving into the specifics of it, is this solely a hunt mission, or are we going there for another reason?
If you're not familiar, and I wouldn't assume that you are, the people of Tadala are, how can I put this and be a simple people, a people that do not have the political complexities that we do, especially concerning other mortals and other people that they have to deal with. However, their society is not only dangerous, but very delicately balanced on a harmony between, and she holds that large talon up, monstrous creatures like this and the way they coexist, the way they potentially ignore that the people of Tadala even exist there. And a balance has been thrown off. Not only are we doing this because it's the chance that we've all been waiting for to really take on something of value. And trust me, if this goes right, the things we'll bring back from this will throw us into a new category. She goes, but it will also give us allies to the southern part of the city in a place that New Gamdar has never had a presence before. Bridging gaps, so to speak. We almost, the king rarely ever visits me. And you know that her and the king have some kind of past. You've picked up on it from before. As she kind of looks off in the distance with a half smirk on her face, as if she's remembering some fond old memory. And she goes, but on when it turned out that we had this contract, he actually sent me a letter and says he has a personal interest in our success in this one. That could even help this place more, if you know what I'm talking about. And she holds her hand up and goes like this. A lot's riding on it. She takes a nervous breath in and she looks at you and she hears Sylowen in the background. And do you think he would like the color of this better than he would like this? And she kind of sighs and she goes, and I just hope I'm not getting you all into more than you're ready for.
She's sidetracked now, but when she's in the heat of the battle, there's nothing to worry about.
So I've heard, or so I saw outside when you all fought. And what was the name of the mechanism again? Adam. She had first row seat to that shit. And she saw some shit go down. I thought it was Art.
Art.
Yeah. Okay. I keep fucking it up too. It begins with an A, is what it is. It's the A bot.
I was like, Brian, we got you on the names.
Thank
we got you.
I know we were just talking about this shit before we recorded, and it's a burden. It's a burden. So you'd think we recorded this shit or something.
I said, Brahmus wouldn't know anything about it. He was pulling a wheelbarrow the whole time.
It's very true. It's very true. So, is there anything else you'd like to ask her at that point?
No, at that point, he would reassure that, be it for service of the king or safeguarding, that his hand will be in it one way or the other.
Okay. Tamyra, what are you getting from up in your room?
I feel like I'm gonna get something to the extent of like a shot of Jameson, just something that's like, a little bit of whiskey. Like it's good enough to where we're gonna take it, we're gonna feel the warmth on the inside, we're gonna relax, and then we're like, all right, now
is this focus. For personally you, or are you bringing down a bottle of something for everybody?
I have a personal stash of my own that I don't always partake in regularly, but we all know Valdera may need some at any point, so I do have a stash. So I'm going to get a bottle of Jameson. I'm going to bring that down and share with everyone involved, even Gwyneth. Like the whole, we're going to get together, we're going to all do a shot, and then it's time to get shit done.
Okay,
Sylowen says, "Woo, shots!"
Tamyra glares at Sylowen as well.
We're seeing a potential alcoholic in the works. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this is called
think college girl out on her first vacation.
Port of the White Sea is what the name of this bottle is, and it's from your home in Tordain. And it's something that they actually make and brew there, and you've brought it with you. I'm going to say you have 1d6 bottles of this. Go ahead and roll it.
That's the regular die, babe.
3.
You have 3. You probably grab 1. It is the equivalent of Jameson. Port of the White Sea is what it's called. And you would bring it down from your room. Anything else you're doing while you're up there?
I am also going, I guess I'm going to grab some shot glasses because I'm going to say I have a very nice set that I save for special occasions.
Well, of course you do.
So I'm going to grab that little set and my bottle of fancy whiskey.
Okay.
Something of the White Sea. And then I'm going to
I'll help you with the names, Kara. Don't worry. I'll help you with the names.
Thank you. Did you say Tort of the White Sea?
Port.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
I thought he said Port City.
Port of the White Sea. And then I am also going to grab I'm gonna grab a bag that contains stuff to like sharpen my weapons, because I feel like, you know, I've used my flail a few times. Knowing that we're about to go on this trip, I'm gonna grab my like weapons bag as well.
Okay.
So while we're traveling, I can sharpen and finesse my weapons.
Awesome. Roll a 1d20 to see the quality of this said bag. Or this
Totally
supply
cool
kit.
with the name of the bottle. But since she said tort, it needs to have a turtle on it with smoking a pipe.
Right,
That's-
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So, and you can also roll a d4 because you were born of a pretty wealthy family. So there's a chance that you would have something pretty decent. I'll let you add a d4 to it.
14. So
Okay,
not terrible.
fairly good quality. No, that's fairly good quality, man. That's not bad. When you're doing that and you're sharpening and preparing your weapons, I may actually give you a +1 either to hit or damage, depending on an ability check later on.
Okay.
And that will last through at least the next day until they dull again. Just making that up as I go, and take a note of that, please, if you would. Because I won't remember it.
I was say that's too much for the DM to remember on his own.
So it's a +1 to
Either hit or damage.
hit or damage.
And that will be for that one complete battle. And that will be on
For the duration of one complete battle?
For the duration of one
hell
complete battle.
yeah.
And it will be at a performance or a, what is it when you're trying to use kits or tools? What's the check you would do for that, Jeremy?
Using tinker tool.
Is it survival? Oh, never mind.
No, I
What
don't
was
think
it?
so.
Usually, if you're using tinker tools, you just use that. If you're proficient, it'd just be a d20 plus your proficiency on it.
Okay, so
If she's
have you roll
proficient with
that,
tinker tools, I'd say that'd be a way to go with it.
or just
If not, I
just
think
in
it's
general.
just a straight dex check for making sure she can make good use of her hands.
Whenever you decide to do it, we'll have you roll an ability check to see how well you do, and then we'll add the bonuses depending on your outcome.
Cool.
Okay, do that on the ship. Do that whenever. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Just keep it in your back pocket. Okay. All right. With that, are you headed back downstairs?
I am.
As you are.
Also, I feel like Tamyra's gonna take a pre-shot for herself just to relax. So pre-shot, grab my bag, grab my set, then I'm ready to go.
Nicely
Wait,
done.
are you like ready to go? Or just like ready to go downstairs?
Ready to go downstairs
Okay.
to fully talk with everyone so that we all get our shit together and we're all on the same page.
So
Because the feeling in the room, just so everybody kind of understands, is people aren't leaving right this moment, or maybe even this day, maybe a next morning thing, but preparations are being made and information needs to be shared and found to prepare for this.
And Tamyra also knows that while things are going on, she could be sharpening her weapons now while discussing everything and like
Okay, cool.
multitasking. Efficiency is what is on Tamyra's mind.
So as you come back downstairs, you see Valdera with one hand. Remember, the side of her head are shaved. The one side, it has the Chimera claw marks on it, and her fingers are running through her hair. And she's thumbing through things, and she doesn't look frustrated. She's actually quite involved with what's going on here, which is something new and familiar. This is interesting. It's nice that the clouds have parted, and she can get back to trying to be a proper badass, what she likes to do. And as she's doing that, Gwyneth looks up at you and looks at your face and sees just a little bit of redness in your cheeks from the shot maybe you just took, and gives you a kind of half smile and a long nod. And she steps over there behind her counter and grabs a rag and throws over her shoulder and begins to make her way to the table that Valdera has most of this information laid out at. Okay? With that, it would have the feeling that there was getting ready to be some kind of conversation. Chairs are getting scooted. You can hear her hoof marks against the floor. People seem to be gathering in. Okay? Sylowen then at that point sees you come down the stairs and hears the shot glass clink together and says,
"Shot!"
There it is. With that, Valdera just grins and looks over at you, Tamyra, and goes, "She's growing on me."
I wink at Valdera.
She goes on, you're not ready for this.
Tamyra the whole time is just like,
yeah. She says, "You're not ready for this," and smiles at you, but with a non-blinking look behind it. It's very almost psychopathic in the way that she has this kind of "you're not ready," It's a weird kind of way.
Sylowen has literally had her wing like cut off of her body. That does not scare her.
You know what? You're right. You're like a mom's like, I've gave birth to triplets. You got nothing.
You got nothing. I ain't scared of you.
I clean up the house. It's awesome. That's cool.
I clean up the house with 2 babies on my hip.
That's right. 3 part-time jobs and a dog. It's bigger than a house. You don't tell me shit, honey. Nothing.
I'm not scared about that.
I ain't scared.
That is exactly how Sylowen would be.
Scared with a T. Scared.
I feel like Sylowen is like almost like a hippie, but like also like super into like society. So she's kind of a conundrum in her own self. She doesn't even know.
She's
whatever
Sylowen.
she is, I enjoy it. I enjoy it, whatever she is. So anyway,
in the background, Brahmus the whole time is just like, just every time.
Brahmus is like, this is my pupil. What have I done?
He's in there with that empty cup, just like. More. He's just thinking it up. He's trying to make it happen. So, having said that, I want to go through this explanation real quick. Then, Alex, I'll get to you on the ship and see how your interaction with Aeolus goes. Okay? So, if you don't mind us hanging there for a few more, hope you're entertained by this the way I am.
Oh yeah.
So, with that, Gwyneth heads over to the table and looks at Valdera and gives her a nod, and Valdera closes the book, and you see several big red old like dirty velvet bookmarks in the book at different levels and shit. We got kids. So at that point, Gwyneth begins to speak about everything that's going on. We like kids here at the Tales of Ulran, and we enjoy children. So, keep in mind, centaur, female, long, steel gray hair with a white streak. Looks like Robin Wright from the Wonder Woman movies. She gets a hard, chiseled jaw about her and gets a very serious look on her face. As she sits down 2 lances that look like actually not lances but like ballista bolts that she's carrying around as a lance that would go into a large ballista on a ship. She sits the one down and leans the other one on the floor. As she does, the tip of it sticks in the floor just a little bit, and she's kind of looking at it and thumbing the handle of it and stuff and looking it over as if she's looking at an old familiar friend. And she goes, I appreciate everyone taking an interest in not just helping one another on this, but taking an interest in getting the heart of the beast back to its former glory. This is a big one. She goes, and I know that several of you have excitedly went ahead and accepted this.
Okay.
But she looks at Tamyra and she nods over at kind of Sylowen and Brahmus and people that don't work here. And she
I guess Sylowen will whisper, "Are you gonna bring beer here?" And then just like lets it go.
Are you whispering that to her or
just out loud to the general public?
She goes, where you're going, they'll be making Kyrin rum. I think you'll find it far better and more suitable than beer.
Interesting.
It's what the local people at Tadala drink. Valdera, I know you've been reading up on this for a while. Go ahead and tell us what it is we're up against, and I'll fill in the details. And she has a look of worry on her face a little bit, and Valdera crosses her arms and puts her like this in front of her face, looks up at the rest of us. And she grabs that flail that's made out of those large teeth that she had laying there on the table. I don't think you remember this, Heather and Kara, but when the room, the table, had several different items on it. One was this large bag of herbs and some kind of animal feed that seems to be some kind of lure that has been gathered by Winona and other people that work here. It has large reeds of different things, look like rosemary and sage sticking out of it, and some other fragrant vegetarian kind of things that hang out of this large potato sack looking thing on the chair, or on the floor beside her chair. On the table is this ancient, what looks like a medieval like flail that has a large bone for the handle of it that's wrapped in leather strapping, that has some more of that kind of tribal Zambian like cave painting kind of symbols painted on it in blue and reds, and this large chain that seems to be carved out of bone, as if, have you ever seen when people will take like a toothpick and carve a chain out of it and it all connects? It looks like someone took the top part of the bone and carved out a chain out of the existing bone. It just fell into place. And on the end of it are hooked these two large canine-like teeth that would be the end of the flail. Tamyra, when you looked at this, you could definitely tell this is some kind of magical weapon that is made in ancient times, but this thing looks brutal. You're a flail expert. Your skill points prove it. This thing here...
Tamyra like looks at it with the utmost respect and adoration.
Yeah, this thing, I mean, you can see from the pop marking in this thing has been through hell and back, and it's still retained its stuff. Now, you know that typically bones are strong, but they're not as strong as steel. But some of the chips and the old faded blood stains on this thing and whatnot, this thing seems to be super strong for some reason. As Valdera takes that and looks over at you and folds up the chain and lays it over to the side, she thumbs through and flips through the bookmarks to the very last one in the book. And looking at everyone's face to see the response, she flips the page open. And this is what everybody sees that's at the table. You see the depiction of what looks like a large, prehistoric-looking bird. And you see the depiction of people trying to battle this thing that seem to be ants compared to it. The artwork itself is old and tribal to a degree, and there are all kinds of notes and depictions in different hand of encounters and information on this particular bird. Okay, and just for shits and giggles, I want to go ahead and bring up a screensaver to show what the bird actually looks like, if that's okay with you guys. So, as I go through my settings and I look here, I'll find it for you in just a minute, okay? Let's see here if I can find it real quick. And I apologize if this takes me more than just a minute. So anyway, as that book is opened, does anyone have anything to say before she begins giving an explanation of it?
Almost will bring up something after the fact, but not right this second.
Okay, so that is an idea of what we're talking about, but even possibly bigger than that. Okay, this would be the sketch drawing inside that. These people would be maybe half this size, as this creature seems to block out the sun. Okay. Valdera looks at the group of you and says, there are people call this monster Takakobna, which in their language means the bird that changes from light to dark. In the place that we're headed, to Tadala, if you guys choose to do it after you hear what I have to say about this. Monsters aren't just legends there. They're flesh and blood. And she looks over to Flail and gives you a long look. And this would be the equivalent of mentioning almost, this is almost like the Skull Island version of this shit if you're familiar with movies. That's the way she's approaching this explanation to you guys. She says every so many years, the Kakobna. What do we got?
Seeing that sketch,
Yeah.
Merc is basically putting the phone on speaker, and he is going to look at his resources on how to fight something that flies.
Okay, we'll get to that.
He can't do it.
Okay, we'll get to that. That's
So
cool.
he's just kind of listening as it's going on, doing his thing.
After a bit, I want you to roll some investigation checks, and we'll see how that goes for you. Okay. So, the Kakobna, which is saying it fast. Okay, Kakobna, has its nest there on the largest island of the 4 islands that make up Tadala. Kumbani is the largest island, and that's where the actual creature nests. Now, it's not always there. We would know this creature as a rock, which is spelled R-O-C. Okay? She goes, the creature only comes there seasonally. And it turns out that on this particular season, it's laying eggs. And the creature has become extraordinarily defensive and fierce, attacking people that used to be able to fish and hunt on the coastal shorelines of Kakoba. And it's having a devastating effect on the people there. They're not able to get the normal food that they would have to store, and there have been several dozen people that have been attacked, murdered, killed, eaten by the Kakobna over the last several months. They want the thing straight up destroyed. The problem being is that this thing is this creature's almost like a god to them. And a lot of them, and because of their religion there, they personally won't raise a hand against it. They believe that it guides the fiercest warriors of their kind onto the next level of existence. If this thing were to be outright killed, they feel like their passageway into their version of heaven would be cut off from them. But they also, so you have to, and Gwyneth would chime in, goes, you almost have to imagine that what it would feel like if your God turned on you. That's what these people are going through. And they need help. Continue, Valdera.
Brahmus chimes in. So why not just try to subdue it rather than kill it? Subdue the creature, wait till its eggs hatch, let it work away from its hostility, and nobody has to kill it to begin with.
Winona walks out of the back room, and God, here I go with Winona's voice. She chimes in from the other side. I hate this shit. She says, that'd be the easiest way to do it, wouldn't it? Just go ahead and wait it out. Just be cowardly about it, why don't you? It's a little bit more complicated than that, I'm afraid. She goes, what do you think you're going to do? Take away their hunting season? Take away the season they bring in all their fishies and all their goodies? What are they going to have left? The answer's nothing. That creature's taken too many lives already. It's about time someone did something about it. So you have to ask yourselves, are you going to just wait it out? Are you going to get on that airship and go over there and kick a shit or something? It's up to you. I'm not a fighter.
Tamyra, very, again, logically, is like, does anyone in the group have animal handling? Like polling the crowd.
As you say that, Winona chuckles. And goes, animal hand, you going to teach it to fetch a stick for you, are you? That's not quite what's going to work.
Tamyra, like, again, intimidatingly glares at Winona and says,
Okay.
no, we will handle this animal. We will not kill this animal out of respect for the people, but maybe we can change this animal.
Gwyneth
If worse
says,
comes to worse, I could always work with the many smiths in the area. Surely the many of them could find a way to make chains and shackles large enough to, at the very least, chain the bird near its children. Once
Gwyneth?
the eggs have hatched,
Right.
these things should change.
okay.
I'm more than capable of standing toe-to-toe to this thing and put the shackles on it myself if need be. But I will not be
Sylowen just
able to
says,
do it alone.
Sylowen, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done, Jeremy. Sylowen just says, but you don't mean to leave it there because that would be worse than death.
Once its hostilities are over and it doesn't seem like it wants to go around on its murderous rampage in defense of its children.
And what if this is not something that has just changed because of the children?
Then we deal with it accordingly. For being a being of such stature, I would hate to try to kill it right out way. And
No, I
take it for
agree.
naught.
But like, what's the next step?
Okay.
To
With
be
that,
determined.
Gwyneth chimes in as Sylowen says that last phrase. Gwyneth says, we do, and she looks over at Winona and gives her a wink, have a plan. It would be safer, but it still would require a bit of cutting on our part. I think it would make all parties happy. She goes, because I do not think restraining the beast, even with shackles made by Trevadel himself. And Trevadel's the old dwarven smith that runs the warrior's altar. I don't know if you've ever met him. He's the one that has well, another story for another day. But he's an amazingly old legendary smith that lives here, and a former warrior and retired and is a pacifist now. But she's pretty much saying not even he would make chains that could hold such a creature. Valdera chimes in hatefully for just a moment. And this is the Valdera that you know. This is the intense one that is about this. And she pulls her hair back and holds up and stands up and holds those marks up to Brahmus on her face. And she goes, do you think you could reason of something like that? You think you could put that creature in shackles to death to me? She goes, some things kill, and some things need to be killed. And I know that's hard for some people to hear in this room. But how do you think the families of those people, those people, the people of Tadala, feel when their God came down and plucked them from their homes and ate them? I'm sorry, I understand that we're trying to possibly find a more civilized way to do this. But civilized goes out the fucking door the second that thing opens its beak and tries to make me its dinner.
I agree with Brahmus. We need to try.
With that, as she looks over at you with kind of like a whatever kind of look, as she would, Winona says, go on. Tell him about the plan. Tell him.
To me?
No, to Gwyneth. Sorry, to Gwyneth. I need to do it with soft
You don't know the plan.
Why no one's talking to this one over here. So,
Ryan!
So Gwyneth chimes up. There are creatures that inhabit that large island, as we'll call it, because I hate pronunciating their dialect. And he says, and they look like these large-jawed, wingless dragon-like creatures from ancient times. And they were the biggest problem to these people up until the point that this rock came back home. Winona and I have devised a plan. We steal an egg. And she looks across to you to see your all's reaction to that. She goes, we make it look like one of these vicious creatures from the island did it. So we draw the hate of the creature upon them, creating a different battle altogether that happens naturally. And we have a rock egg in the process. If you guys can pull it off, it's the best solution that I have.
Can I drag Brahmus away from the group for a second?
You can certainly try.
Can we go outside?
It's up to him, really.
That's what I'm asking him.
Oh.
Brahmus will nod.
All right. We quickly walk outside. Like, I mean, like, I want to be gone from the group as little as possible because I don't trust any of them. Not you guys. I mean them, like the people who are sending us on this quest.
Okay,
I think
so
Tamyra just laser beams at Sylowen just now, like, trust me.
So as you two walk outside, Valdera gives a long look, and Valdera looks back up at Tamyra and is kind of shaking her head. Go ahead, you two. Talk outside. Let's hear it.
Okay, Brahmus. What are our bets here that there's some other ulterior motive going on right now?
Unfortunately, you're not the only one who's thinking that.
I can't hear you.
Testing 1, 2.
Muffled it out.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you.
You're not
No,
the
we're
only
frozen.
one. You're not the only one to be thinking that.
You're not the only one to be thinking that.
Okay, what are we gonna do about it? Because like I don't know if I trust just going out there and killing this thing that may or may not be hostile, that may or may not be doing something because of we don't know. It's a beast.
It
And a
worries
god.
me, this being a political sort of bounty mission.
Political.
We're being told that their god has turned against them. If we kill this thing, who's to say that those who still support it don't retaliate its death? I don't relish the idea of being chased by cultists for murdering their god.
Well, I also just don't think that like it's really up to us to just go in and murder something like this. But like I mean, obviously I'm going to go, and I think that you and I really need to be on the lookout for like other options or just a different scenario here than to just go in and murder.
Correct. Now, you guys did hear Gwyneth's counter motion before you walked outside, correct?
Yes, the fact that she said that it was murdering people's families.
No, that was what Valdera said about that.
Oh.
Gwyneth was suggesting this ulterior plan with the egg. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, where like where you pretend like somebody else killed the is that if I got it correctly, you would like make it look like somebody else killed the bird. Like,
No.
Not okay, then I
Basically
misunderstood.
pitting natural enemies against each other for the fight to work out naturally.
Yeah, which is still murdering the bird.
Okay.
So if anybody were to find out that we had a hand in it, there's a chance that
We're
they
still
could
murdering the bird.
retaliate.
We're still a part of this whole thing.
Which is, well, not, I mean, obviously this is y'all's conversation, but Tamyra was obviously like, is anyone specialized in animal handling? Because we obviously want to respect the people that we're going there for. And if this is their god and something that they respect, who are we to come in and murder something without, having more information?
Okay. So all valid points, which is what makes this very exciting.
In the midst of all this, was it specifically mentioned that the people of the area requested
Yeah.
that this
What are
be
the people-
taken out?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Or was it just the king is like, hey, this is a beneficial opportunity. Let's go take care of that in hopes that it'll strengthen relations.
Well, we can ask that when we go back in. But
There
for
you go.
now, I think that we need to make at least like an agreement at this point that we keep our eyes out and we question the locals and we figure out this full story on our own because I don't believe this.
Okay.
I'm saying that to Brahmus.
Okay.
Agree.
So
Keeping our ears and all
right.
avenues of approach open.
while
Yeah,
you
so
guys
let's
went
get back in.
outside, go ahead.
Oh.
You're getting ready to head back in after you've had
Yeah,
the
let's
conversation.
go back in and get back a part of the conversation and act like we're super down for this
Okay. Okay.
with
So
hesitancy, but like we're down.
while you guys were outside talking, Tamyra, Is there anything that you say to Valdera or Gwyneth after they go outside? Anything you would like to ask in that brief, like 5 minutes or so that they were talking?
So noticing that that Valdera is kind of questioning why they went off, Tamyra puts her hand on Valdera's shoulder and says, listen, Sylowen is new to all of this world, and she needs a little time to process things. So don't take this personal, is essentially the message that she relays to Valdera to give her more ease.
Okay. I don't take it. I'm not going to take it personally, she says begrudgingly. She goes, it's just, and she hesitates for a minute, and she looks you deep in the eyes, and she goes, do you think that I wanted to kill that creature when it was attacking you when I was a kid? And if I hesitated, would we even be here today? She goes, I've seen it too many times. And she goes, I know what you're thinking, and we've thought about that. And there's more to this. She goes, but I'm not going to sit here and get emotional over some large man-eating bird and trying to do things the peaceful way out in the wild that I've made my home for years. There is no peaceful way. It's survival of the fittest.
Tamyra puts her hand on her shoulder and says, I 100% know where you're coming from. I also see the other side. So at this time, I ask that we all be open, we all be transparent, and we all share the things that we think, and that we all get to an understanding. And we go into this with a plan of not let's murder 100%, not, let's, hear everything out all the time and wait until bad things happen. We all need to get on the same page, get out all of our concerns and everything. That way we go into this with a clear understanding of what the plan is. So all I'm asking is that you give my friends a chance to, get their feelings out and express their concerns, and then we find a common ground.
Okay, so right before we go to our break, let's go ahead and say that with that, she nods in agreement with you. And Gwyneth actually has a smile, and she puts her hand on your shoulder and Valdera's at the same time. And she goes, and that's why I have the both of you here. Is to see both sides of things. We'll figure this out. And when we do, we'll be better for it. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and take a 15-minute break. Let me pause this recording. We'll talk for just a moment, and then we'll go ahead and have that, and we'll come back to what Brahmus and Sylowen have to say as they come back in the room. And then before that, I'll actually go ahead and deal with Alex dealing with Aeolus. And I'll pause it now. And we are back. Outstanding. So I was just discussing the Christmas gifts that I need to get for Kara, because she has my back regardless. It's good stuff. Okay, so Jeremy is child taming in the background right now and doing what he can. Yole had to run out to the store. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the very patient Alex playing Oma here and see what she gets into, or hopefully does not get into, depending. When you were leaving the Heart of the Beast, you heard a little bit of ruckus starting up. You were on the fence. You had the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. You're like, do I want to go back? And what's that song? Should I stay or should I go now?
Yeah.
it was playing in your head. You weren't quite sure what to do. And you thought, I think I'll just go ahead and take care of my own business, right?
Yep.
So you are headed back to Skywell, and you are headed up and headed back towards the airship, okay, to deliver the final word on this contract. Okay, once you roll 1d20 for me, you know what this means. 1 You get there, nothing's a problem. 20, that's not exactly problems, but you run into something that goes on for certain. What'd you roll?
10.
10. Okay. That's interesting. All right. Nothing out of the usual. Like I said, it's typically a warm day for this time of year. It's about at 45, 50 degrees, as we said. Snow's melting off all the rooftops, things like that. And you get all the way through Skywell, and there's 2 guards standing at the bottom of it, dressed up in the hawk attire with the black and gold and the wings on the sides of the helmets, and they stand there at attention, looking at you and nodding at you. If they only knew the things that you know. It's going on in this place truly. You make your way up Skywell with no real issue, and you can't help but look around and see if Miasha's around anywhere. Strangely, she's not. You could almost imagine, this being early in the week, and the different booths and things that are set up here, trying to get more people back into the airships and trying to recruit crewmen. That she would be here entertaining, but this place is very quiet in light of everything that just happened with Gleandra almost being killed, with Aeolus and everybody and the airships going under attack from this shadow goblin infestation. There's not a lot of activity up here right now, and it's strange. It's almost disturbing. Okay, it's almost like the way a place is after there's a shooting. There's that kind of feeling about it. They know something bad has happened. Things aren't set back to normal yet. As you get up to the main courtyard, you're walking past very familiar places to yourself. You can see Leah's restaurant far over in the distance, where it has that top of what looks like an actual ship as a decoration that the thing is built into. Maybe just a handful of people sitting on top having some food on the upper level. And you look over, and you're walking by the Crow's Nest, the bar that's shaped like a telescope that goes up almost like the Leaning Tower, but it's shaped like you have columns that look like a captain's eye scope. And as you just look up and glance for just a moment, you focus back on the path again. Then you hear several different coins hit the ground, almost within 15, 20 foot of you. But there's no one actually in the street beside you at the moment. What do you do?
I look to see if there's anyone at the Crow's Nest.
Okay, as you do, you look up and you realize that it's Trevadel. Do you remember who Trevadel is?
Yeah.
He tried to recruit you before, remember?
Right.
He owns his own personal airship, and he is kind of the overseer of Skywatch. He is played by Val Kilmer. It has a kind of a Russian accent, and he looks like an airship captain of the highest quality. And he has that one very short, very powerful gun that he holds at his side that is named after his ex-wife. As he stands there and he puts his foot on the railing, he's kicked a couple coins off to get your attention. And you can see the pointed boot that he wears with a silver inlaid piece on the edge of it that just catches the day's light on it. He looks down at you. And he gives you a very studying look, and he plays with his mustache for just a moment and curls the corner of it. And he says to you, I can only imagine the things you would tell me if only you were permitted to. He goes, why in such a hurry? He says, I see you going, I see you coming, yet no one else is doing this. Why, I ask myself.
I have business.
Business? Is that what you're going with? Business for who, Aeolus? As you out here working where it's not so safe. Everybody else is taking shelter from the storm. And who knew it'd be raining goblins of all people? He says, but you, the delicate flower, he could send you out. He can send you out to run his errands while he sits back in the comforts of his own luxurious ship and lick his wounds. Such a cruel fate.
I'm fine with it.
Because of course you are. You're of a high caliber. Okay? Roll a charisma check. It's 16. Okay, no. He is not able to persuade you in any way. You are holding your own and being very level-headed with him despite his best efforts. Okay? With that, he says to you, and this is strange, when he says this, it's almost like a wolf looking at a lamb. And when the next words that come out of his mouth, they take you and shock you a little bit because of how abruptly he turns it. He goes, so did she take the deal? He gives a frown and then a grin in equal parts, which is eerie. Because you think I wouldn't know of such things?
I really should be on my way.
He goes, well, I hope it's not for nothing. Because I have also wrote up a contract. And if I have my way of it, the Leyland will be sitting licking its wounds for quite a while longer.
We'll see about that.
Did you say it out loud, or you just kind of murmur that under your breath?
I murmured it under my breath.
Okay. As you make your way on through, as you turn away, he starts singing some kind of loud, like folk song. As he opens up the doors and goes back inside, it echoes back behind you. You're feeling pretty proud of yourself for staying your ground and not giving away any information. It's almost like you know that Aeolus would be proud of you for this. Okay? And yes, that's the best accent I could give him. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm sitting here trying to do this, and Kara and Heather's got their shit muted, and they're both like, and I can only imagine they're like, that was terrible.
That's right. The only accent that I can do is British, so that's all I've got for you.
Keep it in your back pocket, because we're going to use it. Okay. I'm going to make a cantrip called Dialect Switch. It's almost like a drinking game, and you get cast on, you have to talk like somebody else.
Well, once I start talking like this, especially if I've been drinking, it's really hard to stop talking like this.
One shot of Jameson, here we are.
All right, but like the only accent I got is, well, this is real country. So that's all I got.
She can go backwards, Barbie, and I can go British. And that's all we've got for you.
Sylowen can be just like a complete redneck Barbie. It'll be fine.
Please.
Her British while drinking reminds me of one of the best times of my life.
Me
and a few guys got together and started drinking, and we talked like Southern generals. Like
I do declare.
Generals.
I will add a Southern general to this at some point, just because that's fantastic. Okay, moving on. Sorry, Alex, sidetrack. It happens. That's funny. So, you get to the airship, and you can't help but look over your shoulder and look at the dreadnought, and you notice that it is vacant. There are maybe 3 or 4 people on it, comparably to what's normally on it. That's nothing. No one that you exactly are familiar with. But as you inspect closer, give me a perception check, please.
Okay. Ooh. 11.
Okay. There's a figure standing on the front of the ship. Long black hair and cloaked. But you're not quite sure. You can't quite make it out, as other people seem to be moving in and about the ship. but there are just a few people on it. Nothing of note. Yes, Sylowen, what's up? You're
Cat.
muted. There you go. Say it again.
Wait, can we see your cat, Alex?
Oh, sure.
If we
Oh my goodness.
Hi, kitty.
So fluffy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brian.
Hey,
She's been teasing us all night.
you know, as good a DM as I try to be, I understand that cats are first. I understand. And I know my place. I am not bitter. It's fine. All right.
Alex, what's their name?
And still.
What?
His name is Bandit.
His name is Bandit.
Bandit. Oh, I love him.
All right.
All right, I'm back.
We're good.
I'm back.
Okay. So, and now I just can't help but think of Smokey and the Bandit from the damn movie. And now I'm sucked in. You understand? Ah. So he's pounding down, loaded up after. So, moving on to Aeolus's ship, you see a very weakened Dauntus, which was that steampunk dwarf character that you used the Toll the Dead spell on and got that information from. Well, he was revived eventually by the Thundercracker, which is that old dwarven cleric that is on the ship, the one that specializes in lightning magic. And you haven't seen him since then, and he is walking around covered up pretty good. You can see from the side profile of his face that his normal red curly hair that's all around here and his beard and things, but he looks very pale against it. He is still trying to get life completely back into him. He went through a horrendous ordeal. As he's going around and he is checking on some of the ballistas and things on the ship and doing a little bit of maintenance work on them. And you can only imagine because Aeolus knows there might be an adventure in the future. As you come on, he looks over at you for a minute. And he goes, "Oh, hey, it's been a while since I've seen you on the ship. How's it going?"
Oh, the usual. How's life?
It's funny. Is that a joke? Not so entertained by it, but you're getting a kick out of it. He goes, it was underappreciated before, if that's a constellation to you. Anyway, and he takes his hands and he's kind of twiddling his fingers. How did things go?
I think they went well.
Insight check. You said that a little too flamboyantly.
Oh.
Okay, 19. So, are you just being completely honest, or do you wish to deceive him in any way?
I'm being honest.
Okay. He looks at you with a square eye, and he goes, "Never took you for much of a poker face, did I? It's good to know. Just can't wait to get back in the air again and go on another life-altering adventure. Whoop-de-fucking-do, as they say." Very sarcastically. He says, "Have you seen Dahan today? Been looking around for him. I owe him quite a bit, actually. One for fighting me like a fucking popsicle just laying around, but we have some unfinished business to take care of. You don't want to concern yourself with it all that much. Have you seen him around?"
I haven't since this morning, right?
Correct.
Okay. I haven't since this morning.
Because I worry about him usually for getting ready to take off something as big as this. He's around with lending a hand and trying to help with things. Get it together. He's kind of like the glue to the puzzle here, metaphorically speaking. He says, "Between you and me," and he kind of comes up within 5 foot of you and gets kind of serious. He goes, I heard that you were talking to me while I was not here exactly, right?
Yeah.
You didn't ask me anything that would get me in any trouble, did you?
Oh no.
Oh, of course. Okay. I just certain people, I know things that not everybody knows, and Dorbach just wanted me to check and make sure I didn't, maybe talk a little bit too much when I couldn't help myself. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Oh, okay. You hear me? Good. More humor. That's good. Anyway, I better get back to it. Just depends on where we end up. When I crank this baby back, I want to be able to send a ballista straight through the soul of the biggest dragon in the sky. We're going to do it. And if I got anything to say about it, and he jiggles his vest a little bit, there's vials of different kinds of gunpowders and different kinds of components that he always keeps on himself. As he brings the goggles back down on his head, he goes, maybe a little something extra, maybe some fireworks if I can manage them.
Nice.
Stay safe, Oma. You need anything, and I'm serious about that. Oh, yeah. You need anything, even if it's something you're not so proud of doing. I don't really have honor, so to say. So
Oh.
I'm your guy. I owe you one. Okay.
Okay.
Good talk. Live life. It's funny even now. So with that, he goes back to working on the ballista and doing those kinds of things. Question.
Can we just say that Sylowen started itching her ear whenever Oma started talking about Dahan, and she doesn't know why?
Yes.
Just for flavor.
No, I will add it in when we get back to it. I will add it in. Okay. So, you go into the depths of the lower deck of the ship. You know where the main place is, where Aeolus hangs out for fun. It's the same place where that gnomish character was playing that violin for you at time, and you saw all them playing the card game and all that shit that happened. It's the same nice space. Okay. And as you go down there, Aeolus is facing with his feet up on there, with his arms crossed like this. And he's smiling, staring right at the door when you walk into place. He's got a bottle sitting there beside him. And for this early in the day, that's strange for him. He only plays at being a drinker. There's been many times where you've been watching him and you've seen him spit drinks out and give you a knowing wink, always trying to keep his wits about him. But now he seems nervous, as if he doesn't know how this contract is going to go. And he's been anticipating you coming back, and he's trying to have a couple to smooth the edge. Yeah. So as you walk in, do you have anything to say outright? He's just grinning and looking at you, and he goes, there she is. You could have kept me waiting a little bit longer, but I would have had to maybe restock. He says, laughing. It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Laughter's a good sign. So tell me, are we flying, or are we sticking around this miserable place for a couple more days?
It looks like the offer was accepted, and
sigh of relief.
Not just that, but if it goes well, our next month might be promised to Gwyneth.
He looks at you, a little taken back by that, and he raises his eyebrows, and he goes, our next month?
Yeah.
And you agree to this?
That was only if things go well.
Okay. You've done well. The next time I'll work on your preparedness to deal with the selfish needs of those that don't have access to the skies as you and I do. He smiles and he stands up with his arms behind him, tapping the barrel of his long rifle that he carries vigorously as he paces back and forth with the one. And he brings his other hand around, he grabs a drink, and he's drinking it with his hand. He's tapping the barrel with his other one on the right. And as he pushes back his long coat, he says, "So the contract is valid, and they have said if this goes well, meaning on our side of things or on their side of things."
I think if we do well, that we'll get a whole month worth of contracts from Gwyneth.
Agreed. He goes, and since we didn't exactly win the race in the airship flying contest against the Dreadnought, we don't have the city's contract any longer. Plus the Intrepid, which the Intrepid was the ship that looked like the lead from Star Trek Next Generation, Jean-Luc Picard, that Patrick, what's his last name? Come on.
Stewart?
Yes, thank you. He's the captain of that. He says, and it looks like they've still going to have the monopoly on being the head of the fleet here in the city. This will be good to have consistent work, but I don't much care for the danger of all of it. It just seems it's always so dangerous. They're always wanting to go kill this and go after and murder that. And it's perfectly fine, I suppose, if you can stomach all the rhetoric and things of that nature, but in any case, these aren't problems for your ears. He says, you did well.
Thanks.
He goes, he holds his hand out to take the contract back that she signed the other side of.
Okay.
You hand it to him?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, he goes, so if we're going to be doing this and it's been signed, first off, I have to make sure that this stays in a safe place. Secondly, my safe place seems to be missing. Have you seen Dahan?
Oh, I haven't seen him this morning.
You know, I heard a rumor.
Uh-oh.
He says, maybe not uh-oh. I just didn't realize if you had maybe heard a rumor too. You have anything to say to that?
I'm not quite sure what he's getting at.
Okay. He looks at you for a minute and studies you like he's playing cards with you at that table. And he says, well, anyway, maybe, and yes, go ahead, someone.
I just wanted to point out, well before this all starts, whatever happens, I planned on going to find Dahan right after whatever I was doing. So
That's
continue
cool.
with what you're doing. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't think that I was lying. All right, continue.
Okay. Had an honesty strike here. So, no, that's cool. And it actually plays into this really well, Heather, so we'll get to it. I like it when you guys make the story happen. All I got to do is just talk.
I just didn't want you to be like, would you have done that if you hadn't heard what was going on? No, I'm telling you now, my next plan after all this was over was I was going to go shopping and or find Dahan, depending on the situation.
Piece of cake. We could do that. All right. So, having said all these things between the two of you, he says, so now that we know that we're headed somewhere, what do you, is your allowance still suitable to prepare yourself or do anything you wish to accomplish in the next day before we head out?
I believe so. I just want to repair a coat and restock on supplies.
He says, repair the coat. Oh, you mean that thing? He kind of looks at you for a minute and he goes, well, I hope it functions well. He looks at you kind of snobbish, as he would as he says that. With that, Oma, what is it you would like to do next with yourself? You have a rough idea because you actually looked at the contract a little bit that they would want to be leaving the next morning. Okay, so you have the day to do whatever you want. There's the people back at the Heart of the Beast still. You could go out searching for Dahan to talk to him about whatever this supposed rumor is and tell people are looking for him, or any other thing that you could possibly fathom. What is it you were thinking about doing? Or do you want some time to think about it?
I was thinking about going to the twins and getting that one coat size to my frame.
Okay, and did you know the name of the place you wanted to go to do that, or you need to seek a place out to do it?
It was the brother and sister duo.
Yep, Norbu and Kamani,
Yep.
brother and sister armor crafters, from a foreign place. Definitely, they are almost like they are very close. Whereas the place we're going possibly is more Zambian, tribal, and steeped in African culture and things of that nature. And Dahan is more of like an Eskimo type Samoan. These people are more like people that will live on an island. The brother of the two, they're twin brother and sister. The man is played by Mark. I can't pronounce his last name. Dacas. Dasaskus. I don't know, but he's the one that played in Iron Chef. The TV show is about cooking. The Asian guy.
Mm-hmm.
He also played in Brotherhood of the Wolf. If you've ever watched that movie, it was a badass movie back in the day.
You said an Asian guy that played on the cooking show?
Yes, the Iron Chef, America.
Not Jet Tila?
Nope, he was the host of it. He was the one who talked about his uncle. At the beginning, always takes the bite out of the apple and shit.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
sorry.
He also played in the movie Brotherhood of the Wolf. He's played in a lot of different movies. He also played the main bad guy that John Wick had to fight in the most recent John Wick movie. If you look those up, I'll find a picture of him and put it on that page. And then the girl looks like Jamie Chung, which did you guys watch that TV show? The one where it's like Snow White and her daughter, and it was like a whole TV show made about that. What was it called? My family watched it all the time, but she played Mulan in that. And that's the two. I'll find pictures of them and post them later on our group chat. But they look like Tibetan, Asian, more of that kind, with the large, heavy wools and things, and the colored, intricate kind of clothing on them and things of that nature. Okay. They have a place up here in this part of the city, and they just have a cart that they push around from spot to spot, and they collect things and trade and sell things and make all these custom clothing and shit. And that Valdera has actually had a conversation with Fioma where she invested quite a bit in them because she has an order to make her own stuff. She wants a set of armor that is made out of the raw materials of a chimera because of that attack that she went through and that scarred her face. Mm-hmm. She wants something that represents dragon scales of lion hide and things like that.
What's a chimera?
Chimera.
Chimera, sorry. Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't be. I'm sorry. I pronounce it like shit. But that's the creature. So I will say that you are going to try to locate and track them down. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and jump back to Sylowen and Jeremy coming back into the room after having said conversation outside. Tamyra had her conversation with Valdera while you guys are gone. Some really good stuff there. You guys walk back in, and Valdera is still in the agreeing mode with you, Tamyra, as she locks eyes with the two of them as they come back in. She clears her throat for a minute, sarcastically, and says, we, as she looks at Tamyra, are open for ideas on this. Gwyneth and Wynonna put this idea together of trying to kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. But I think it's important to say what our goals are in doing this.
Can I ask?
She's looking at you.
Yeah. When are we looking to leave?
She looks at Gwyneth. Gwyneth speaks up. She goes, We'd have to make preparations throughout the day. We'd be leaving
Today.
first.
So we're leaving tomorrow? Is that what the timeline is?
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Do we need anything in particular for this task?
Valdera looks up and says, any information we can find.
Okay, other than information, I mean material things.
She looks up at Gwyneth and says, I think we have it covered. As long as the people are there and our courage holds.
All right.
She goes,
Well,
"We
do we
have-"
need more people for this particular quest?
No.
That's not what I was expecting. All right. Well, I'm going to see if you want me to invite Daehon.
Daehon.
I don't know why I want to I want to spell his name wrong so bad.
It's all good. She looks over at Gwyneth and flips open a ledger and looks at, and you know very well, Tamyra, that they're looking at a budget ledger, which talks about how many people versus how much they'll be able to make and things of this nature.
Wait,
Gwyneth,
they're looking at a ledger as like far as like pay or whatever?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm willing to split my pay.
Gwyneth just gives you kind of a curious look and smiles. And she walks over towards you and looks down at you because she's quite a bit taller than you. She goes, you truly are here seeking adventure, aren't you?
100%. Not fame or glory.
She goes, yeah. Mark him down there, Valdera. He can come along.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm leaving, and this is me in my own brain. I'm leaving assuming that Brahmus will update me with the actual update on what's going on because we're on the same page as far as I think.
Okay.
And I'm going to go and talk to my landlord and tell him that I'm not going to be back for a while. And I'm going to find Daehon.
Okay. So that's the goal. Okay. So at that moment, as Sylowen seems to have gotten the answers that she needs, Tamyra, you're just kind of taken back by how gung-ho and forward she is in thinking this. And the whole time in the back of your mind, you can't help but think about, she just wanted to get out of here so she can go find Daehon. That's just how this comes across to you personally. Brahmus, do you have anything to say or add or ask Valdera as she sits down and starts to continue with talking about details? Has all the books, the ledger there in front of her. What are you asking?
How old is this creature?
She flips another page and she looks at it and she traces with her finger and she goes, it doesn't say particularly how old this creature is. And the toughest thing about it is, it may not even be the same creature as it was 100 years ago. It could be one of the offspring just come back to replace it. It's once these rocks get to be of a certain age, they fight for territory amongst themselves. Kind of like two gladiators in the same room. She kind of smiles as she's looking over at Sha-dae, which is still leaning over in a corner, just kind of playing with her, talking to her bird on her arm, just kind of playfully hanging out in the background. She says, but from what we've gathered so far, they can grow to be hundreds of years old.
Is this event common? When they lay their eggs, do they get this territorial normally?
That's something we don't know. We'll have to find out when we're there. The contact that actually sent this package to us is the son of one of the leaders there. His name is... I'll find it in just a minute. Hold on.
I forgot to say, Brian, can we also say that I quickly dropped by a music store to pick up a new harp because as a bard, I can still give bardic inspiration, can't I?
You can, but I want to role play through that because that's something particularly I want to do with that.
Well, no. The picking up a harp.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Because when it comes to things like that, I mean, if we were right in the middle of something majorly, we could just say, okay, you did this, roll this. This is how well it went. But for you getting your first one, I have something in mind for that. Okay.
Okay.
This particular person's name was Chibin. Was the name of this person. Chibin. Okay, with a hyphen after the I. Chi-hyphen-bin. Chibin. And when he sent these things to us, Valdera says she pulls out the letter and she gives everyone a long look. And as she unrolls this, you see that this has bloody handprints on it. Okay, this is a letter of desperation from people that don't know what to do. Times are changing. They're changing here. They're changing in the northern continents, and there's certainly the same changes happening to the south. She goes, and I don't know what these people believe or what they think they're up against, but if the son of the ruling of the leader of this place is sending a letter like this, it's dire. Okay.
Now, given the fact that Merc has been around for a hot minute, has he ever heard of attacks like this? Or is this just like an out of the blue, this seems off?
Roll
like
a history check with disadvantage because it's a very foreign land. Imagine Jeremy with like some really big, like 1985 Apple computer. He's just pushing buttons and shit. What you got, buddy?
15.
A 15. Okay, with a 15, with it being a disadvantage and being of that nature, 15 out of 20. You've heard of these large birds. You've heard them called thunderbirds before. They're called rocks by us people. You didn't have heard their version of it before or not. But as far as large creatures being territorial when it comes to them having offspring, everything that you've researched on other creatures, not specifically this one, but other ones, this is completely normal. The only thing that seems to be striking you strange about this particular one is this is a celebrated animal that seems to be acting very abnormal this one time around. There's something there that is not right as far as it being so aggressive. Other than that, this seems to be normal. You just don't know about this particular creature, Jeremy. That's what you get from the 15.
And what the question going on in his mind is, if this were normal territorial, this would have been something they would have heard of more than just this once.
Right. This seems to be a singular.
Come deal with it, but this one time being this bad, Brahmus already has it in his head that this is one group is sending us to do it, like, oh, it's for the good of the people, and then the people are like, no, it's not. Like that's the kind of gear that's kind of twisting in his head right now. And then this being the abnormal event that it is, it's even further twisting that.
Okay.
So
that's a fair point.
He's not too trusting of the situation. He's gonna go. He's about to be asking a whole lot of questions when he gets there.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. With that, we'll wrap this up here in just a few minutes since it's just about 9:30. So Valdera continues on for just a moment, as she can see that Brahmus is kind of looking down at the floor and into his own thoughts. She describes some of the passages in the actual paperwork that was sent over from this. What is his name again? Chibin. Okay, make sure I'm circling that. Okay, so it talks about the rage of the beast not being soothed by their normal prayers and ceremonies. He depicts that they usually have a great celebration when the bird comes back every so many years. And there have been ancient times where they know that the thing has roosted. And when new ones were going to be born, they would actually dress themselves up like rocks, like big birds. Like you've seen videos of people doing tribal ceremonies around a fire where they dress up in costumes and portray events. That's what they were doing in this. And in the midst of that, were attacked by the creature, as if the gods themselves were disapproving of what they were doing. He seems to be a future-minded person. And as she is reading from this and using her finger and going over these words and things like this, it's written in broken common, but it seems to be earnest words, unless you would want to further investigate this document yourselves. Okay? But she's not trying to hide anything from you, Valdarius, as she's slowly getting through this. As a matter of fact, okay, natural 18. She's able to do it, but it's still hard for her to read. Okay? But that these other creatures, these large teeth, other like dragons of no wings, is the way they describe them. Other creatures that inhabit the island are usually the worst of their fears, their worst problem. But now they even are running rampant because, normally their tribe can hold these people back. They can combat those creatures, although they're very tough. But they can't combat those creatures and the rock at the same time and go to their native hunting grounds and get what they need supply-wise this time of year. Like I say, the young one, the Chaiben, seems to be more reasonable. He's not all caught up in the whole God myth and things. He seems to be a more present-day thinker than his father and the other people that are like a council here. Okay, and that's the way this comes across as she reads it. He has thought about the scheme. He says if these other creatures, these large reptilian creatures, can be taken care of in the process, possibly the large rock or this sky spirit won't feel threatened anymore. Maybe it's something wrong with one of the eggs. There's all these possibilities. And as she reads this to you, it gets the wheels turning in you all. Okay? Before we end tonight's session, Valdera closes the book and looks around, and she goes, our game plan could absolutely go to nothing once we show up there. All I know is that Tamyra and me are going to do everything we can to keep everybody as safe as we can while we're going. And if that means I have to kill a thing to make sure you all come back alive so we can enjoy the fruits of this labor, that's what I'm going to do. If it comes down between one of you and that, that's what I'm going to do. She goes, everyone has to make their own decision, their own piece of it. She says, but I'm willing to suggestions, any suggestions at all. But we still don't know everything until we show up on the shores, and that's the gamble. That's why the payout's so great for this. The wealth that these people have acquired and have is a kind of wealth that people just don't have here. And she goes, so you have the night to think about it.
Is Sylowen still there?
You can be, yes.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say she rolls her eyes at the wealth part. And then can we just go ahead and say, before we end tonight, because I will forget completely if we do not move on to the next spot, like, do I go looking for Dahan?
Yes.
Okay. Do I find him?
We don't know.
All right, that's the next week thing. Jeez, okay.
It is, yeah. So, Brahmus, you have any more questions about it?
Are we saying that this is the end of this conversation and everybody's going off to their own thing?
I mean, we can wrap up, or if you have something, you can bring it up. I will never stop a conversation if you have more to say.
Just a couple things that Brahmus, I just want to get out, like Heather, to say that he wants to do before he winds down for the night. And one part, I'm sure you'll want to RP, and that's fine. He does want to talk to Gwyneth about getting either hide or scales of the frost dragon.
Okay.
He wants to go talk to a blacksmith about commissioning a tower shield.
Okay.
Right, because you couldn't figure out how to make your own.
Right.
Okay.
And the intention is to have it made with those scales intact.
Oh, nice. Okay, so make it. Oh, combo. Nice. Write that down in your notes.
Yeah, I will.
So that okay.
And
Thank
then
you.
the third thing is it's very doubtful that Merc is going to get much sleep tonight, and he will probably be spending most of the night looking into information that he's got on fighting aerial creatures and tactics used to bring down large creatures.
Okay.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Those kind of things go back to primitive times. So I'm sure there's something there about wrangling something huge.
Correct.
I'm gonna go ahead and just
Big, big,
say
big,
that
big.
Sylowen also doesn't very much like Valdera because she's willing to sacrifice anything to get the end goal. And that seems problematic to
Okay.
Sylowen.
Fair. Okay.
But she will not Sylowen will not sacrifice anything to get the goal.
Okay.
Not our friends, anyways.
Okay. Tamyra, did you have anything else?
Tamyra is more in her head of she completely understands Valdera's side, yet she's completely sorry, our cat.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
She's completely understanding Sylowen's side. So Tamyra is in her head balancing Valdera friends and trying to figure out where she is.
That's an interesting thing. That's what makes this really interesting is all these different ideas kind of coming together doing this.
Yeah,
so Tamyra's having the internal battle of who does she side with, or is she going to stay middle ground and try to advocate for both?
Sylowen will absolutely not kill a friend in order to get the higher goal if she can avoid it. Like, absolute avoid it. Like, is the world gonna end if someone dies? Okay, we'll talk about it. But like, are you gonna complete a mission by killing a friend? Nah.
That's cool, but I just want to make a valid point that Valdera didn't say she would kill a friend for money.
No, not money, but like for the goal, the higher goal. It sounded like she would say that she would stop at nothing to get. Did I misunderstand that whole conversation?
You misunderstood that Valdera's background is she killed something to save our lives, so she is not hesitant to kill.
Okay,
this.
well, when I guess when I heard that she said she would kill something to save somebody's life, I thought she meant like anybody who stood in her way, including her own friends.
No, it's not what she said at all.
No.
Oh, okay. Then I totally misunderstood. I'm so sorry.
No, Valdera is under the influence that she saved our lives and she has the battle scars.
Okay, well then I
from
take
that.
back what I say about that.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, holy shit.
I was willing to let it go, but I was thinking to myself, it's like, Valdera's not that terrible a person. What are you talking about?
I was like, Sylowen was hating her for a minute there.
No, Valdera was like, if the animal is trying to attack you, she will kill the animal to save you.
I thought she was saying like,
I will kill your family.
No. I thought she was saying like, if I have a chance to kill this thing or save my friend, I'm gonna kill this thing.
No, she's
and I was
only
like,
going.
Oh my God!
She's only going to kill the thing if it's gonna kill you.
Okay.
Folks,
We're on the
remember,
same page now.
Never drink in D&D. It can kill a friendship. And that's the name of the episode.
Definitely drunker than me, which is so wild.
That is the name of the episode right there. So
wait, what?
That's the name of the episode. It's gotta be. So moving forward, actually stopping and moving forward next week. This was fun. Some really good role play there, some good storyline. We're getting a better idea of what we're getting ready to be up against. I love the fact that you all have goals that you're writing down that you want to get out and done next time. That's awesome. All I got to do now is just paint the picture for you. You guys know where you're going. So with that, we'll go ahead and end this. Once again, I'm Brian Cons. And like I say, I'll pause. We'll bullshit after I'm done. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you again possibly next Sunday. Take care.